Hello, good day, and welcome to Aussie Jet Setter YouTube channel. My name is Stephen, and I've got a YouTube channel which focuses on travel and aviation, based here in West Australia. So some of the key stuff on my travel channel includes flight reviews, train reviews. Also do like a lot of walking tours as well, and general sort of travel content, sort of hiking content, scenic drives, all that sort of stuff. So quite a broad travel niche of my channel. Anyway, today is the first of a three-part series. Basically want to give you guys the rundown of everything you might find helpful if you want to start a travel YouTube channel in 2024. Everything from the hardware and the software you need, also some general tips and advice on how to get your channel off the ground. You don't certainly have to actually be starting a travel channel per se. I think a lot of this following advice transcends any sort of YouTube channel that you might create in 2024. Also, a lot of the advice is applicable just for traveling around as well. What sort of travel technology works good these days. Anyway, it is a three-part series. The first part that we're talking about today is going to be about all the hardware side of things. So the physical stuff you need to film your YouTube videos. The second part is going to be everything about the software side of things. So everything you need post filming, actually in the editing stages, what you need to get your video actually up on YouTube, also to market it, sort of promote it and optimize it, all that sort of stuff. And the third part's just going to be my general tips and advice, some strategies how to get your YouTube channel off the ground, and you know, how to keep the momentum always going forward. Anyway, back to part one, which we're concerned about today. So part one's all about the hardware. Definition of hardware, pretty well as I said before, is all the physical stuff you need or you might need to produce your YouTube videos. Everything I'm talking about today, you certainly don't need it all to get started. For some people, there's certainly going to be things that you won't need at all. A lot of this stuff I already had before I started the YouTube channel, because I was always into sort of photography and filming all my travels. So I usually, before the YouTube channel, actually found that I was filming all this stuff and yeah, really didn't do much with it, and it was kind of a waste of footage. So that's kind of part of the reason why I started the YouTube channel, was so I could share all this great content with you guys. First things first, so starting a YouTube channel, you're probably going to want one of these things. Goes without saying, but of course you're going to want a mobile phone. 95% of the population are probably already got them. If you're starting a YouTube channel, I'm sure you already got one as well. I've got the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Got this when it first came out in 2021, I think around September. Went all in, got the 1TB version. Did cost me an arm and a leg, but well worth it in the end, as I have 100,000 plus photos on there and thousands of videos. All that heavy content production in 4K quickly uses up the storage, so yeah. Choose wisely when you buy a phone, because if you're getting an iPhone, you can't increase the storage later on. Other phones may, however, have expandable memory. Obviously, you could have a Samsung. They work pretty well as well. They probably have better quality cameras and better quality telephoto. But yeah, just use whatever phone you got to get started out. As long as it's got a 1080p camera, I think that's a pretty good starting point. 4K even better. Even if you are going to use a GoPro or another form of camera, your phone is still very trusty. You're going to use it to use things such as the YouTube Studio app. Also going to use it to post short form content to Instagram or YouTube Shorts or whatever. It comes very handy. If you are going to film predominantly with your phone, one of these things comes in handy. It's called a gimbal, which is a digital video stabilization device. I've got this DJI OM5. So it's not the latest model. There's a DJI OM6 now. I think it costs $200 or about that on Amazon. Anyway, to use the DJI on 5, basically there's just a magnetic clip here. You clip your phone on there and then it magnetically connects to the gimbal. So yeah, this is really good for getting great stable footage. Certainly good if you're filming a walking tour on the go, you're talking into your iPhone camera. Really good when you're doing walking tours as well, as you can really pan around and rotate, all that sort of stuff while you're going. Keep some steady footage, because if you've got really shaky footage on YouTube, that might be a turn off for your viewers straight away. Also good, this device for taking photos. If you want to set it up on a timer or something like that and take a group photo, that's really handy. Also has a little built-in tripod here, so you can sit it up, and yeah, you can also extend it as well. So very handy little device, this one. I do find it a little bit cumbersome to use at times, especially with the 13 Pro Max. It sometimes is a little bit tricky to center. So yeah, it can be a bit tricky to use sometimes. Also, sometimes I prefer just walking around with the GoPro, as I can still access and use my phone at the same time. Bit hard to really use your phone when it's clipped into a gimbal in horizontal mode. Next up, we've got one of these things, which is a trusty GoPro. This has served me really well. I've got a Hero 10. In the past, I've also had a Hero 7 as well. So this one's a few years old now, but certainly served me well. Probably 70-80% of the content I film these days is on a GoPro. The rest on either my DSLR or my iPhone camera. The beauty of these things over an iPhone or camera phone is the versatility and the much greater options they allow you for filming stuff. These also are not sort of going to stop you from filming when the weather conditions get poor and in other sort of environments where an iPhone is a bit too cumbersome to use. I've used these in snowstorms, I've used them in the pouring rain, I've used them in fast moving vehicles, you know, where I'm filming a driving tour. They also work good with walking tours as well. The stabilization is really good on these. The beauty of these things is their versatility. So straight out of the box, they're waterproof, so that's really handy if you're in a really wet environment. The good thing, however, is the adaptability of them. So you can mount them on practically anything. So it doesn't matter whether you're riding a motorbike or riding a push bike, or you're skiing, or you're bungee jumping or whatnot. Most of these activities I haven't done, by the way, but yeah, you can pretty well mount it to anything and film pretty well any activity. So you get so many different more opportunities to explore different camera angles and all that sort of stuff, so that's really cool. What is also really good about these is that you can customize them to connect extra equipment to them. So to do this, you're probably going to need one of these things, which is the media mod. They just slip on like that and then basically provide an encasing around the GoPro. Media mod, it gives you two cold shoe mounts, so that's really good. You can use these to mount things such as an external microphone like my Rode Wireless Go mic. You could also use it to connect a light, for example, such as this little light here. So it gives you a little bit more light in low light conditions. And it also does have another microphone in the media mod itself. Not actually a fan of the inbuilt mic on this, causes a lot of unwanted noise when filming around. So I just use the media mod to plug in my Rode Wireless Go these days. The next really cool thing I use with my GoPro, which I use for everyday vlogging when moving through airports and all that sort of stuff, is my trusty Volta grip. If you are filming hours and hours of content every day, it's really going to get annoying changing out GoPro batteries every 20-30 minutes. So one of these will give you about 4 times extra battery life, as it essentially is a small little battery power bank for your GoPro. So yeah, this little USB-C cord here actually hooks up to your GoPro, keeps it powered up when you're not actually filming. If you do want to have your GoPro continuously charging, there actually is a hack to get around this. Basically, you got to take your GoPro battery out and have it hooked up to your USB-C cable through to your PowerPoint. So yeah, if I am doing a longer driving video, this is sometimes what I do. But yeah, if you're out on the go, it's not really the practical option in my opinion. So I use the Volta usually in conjunction with the Media Mod. Do keep in mind when you use these two devices, it does mean that your GoPro is no longer waterproof. It is still sort of water resistant, so a couple dots of rain's probably not going to hurt it. But yeah, actually being waterproof goes out the door. So if you do need to film in a rainy environment, or underwater or anything like that, you're going to want to use your GoPro in the original condition. So yeah, it just pops in like that. This is the Rode Wireless Go microphone. The receiver end of it's actually connected up to my Canon 200D DSLR. So I can't show you what the receiver looks like at the moment, but this is the microphone. And yeah, if you were using the GoPro with the Media Mod, obviously you wouldn't put the microphone necessarily in the cold shoe mount, you put the receiver up there. But yeah, it just slips in like that, it looks exactly the same. So yeah, very good little vlogging rig, this one. It's good for sort of just talking into the camera while you're walking, it works perfectly fine. Other main mount I use with my GoPro is this little metallic clip here. It will clip onto saying metallic like that, or you can just clip it in there like that. Works really well. Really works well for my driving videos where I can just hook this onto somewhere on my dash, for example. Also, you know, you could hook it onto clothing or whatnot. Just works well with a lot of different things. In terms of battery life, the old GoPro isn't overly that good running on batteries alone. The original batteries here, the blue ones, the battery life is quite poor in my opinion. So for that reason, I do recommend these GoPro Enduro batteries. They've got the white tip up here. That's how you know they're an Enduro battery. Probably give you 20-30% battery life improvement. They also work better in extreme conditions, so in really hot weather or really cold weather where the battery gets drained more quickly. These work really well. You can just get them in a 2-pack, and it comes with this charger here, so you can charge 2 batteries at once. That works really well. In terms of other GoPro accessories, the sky is really the limit. That's the beauty of GoPro. Basically, if you like, you can get basically starter kits on Amazon or eBay or whatever mass market place that you can find. You get like 50-piece kits for like under $50. These will have all the different bits and bobs you could possibly want for using your GoPro. Different types of floating handles, different types of chest straps, head straps, arm mounts, anything like that. Little gorilla stick things, all sorts of stuff, all different sort of adhesive mounts. The sky's really the limit. My advice is, unless you're the most ambitious of film creators, don't take the whole kit with you. Most of the time you're not going to use 99% of the stuff. Probably the old chest mount and the head mount are probably 2 of the most useful ones that you're going to use. In terms of other sort of handles, I do have this GoPro 3-in-1 selfie stick here. This is really handy if you want to do a bit of vlogging a little bit further away from the camera, reach some higher angles, all that sort of stuff. Works really well. Yeah, and it also does have a little tripod as well. But yeah, overall I do just prefer using the Volta grip for everyday filming, to be honest. Having it connected up to the battery pack really works well for me. Some of the downsides with the GoPro, you've got to be realistic with these things. They're incredible for what they do, the image quality that they put out. But they are tiny little cameras at the end of the day, and filming in 4K for extended periods does put a lot of pressure on them and a lot of strain on them. So I do have issues, they do glitch up quite often, and yeah, they do certainly overheat. Especially doing my driving videos or extended walking tours, especially in warm conditions, they will overheat and shut off. So yeah, trying to film continuously at long periods of time in 4K can be tricky at times. It will shut off and will need to cool down. So that's basically my GoPro setup. You don't necessarily need to get a GoPro. There's plenty of other action camera brands out there on the market at the moment. DJI have put out some pretty good ones up here as well. What else can I say about the GoPro as well, or any sort of other camera device other than your phone? You're going to need a memory card. Usually just go the SanDisk Extreme Pro memory cards. Would probably just recommend getting a 128 or a 256 one. If you get like a 1TB one, it's going to be super expensive. Plus there's no guarantee your GoPro is going to work seamlessly with it either. Plus 1TB on a tiny little memory card, it's just a lot to have on there if something goes wrong. 128, 256, it gets you into the habit of regularly backing up your content to hard drives. In terms of my main Canon DSLR camera setup, let's now have a look here. So as you can see, I've got a fairly standard Canon camera bag. This works really well for carrying both my DSLR and my GoPro, and my 55 to 250mm lens as well. So here's my Canon 200D DSLR. Very much a starter sort of camera, this one, in terms of DSLRs. Might note, however, that the camera trend these days is very rapidly moving towards mirrorless cameras. If I'm a bit old school, I prefer DSLR still these days. This one's been around since about 2017 now, I believe. I think it might be called a SL2 or a Canon Rebel, depending on where you are in the world, but in Australia it's a 200D. So very much a fairly baseline model for a DSLR, but a good one for what it does and a good one for beginner photographers. This is what I obviously use for all my plane spotting action. So straight out of the box you get an 18 to 55mm kit lens. So this is a good all-round lens for everyday shooting. I'm probably more of an intermediate photographer than advanced photographer, so I really do still appreciate having an old-fashioned camera in my hand, not necessarily always using an iPhone, but yeah, not super advanced into the knowledge on how to use it as well. So I think this really is a good beginner DSLR camera. This cost me about $750 on special, but yeah, typically retails for around 1,100 Australian dollars. If you are looking to get a DSLR, it's probably because you appreciate the interchangeability of being able to change up the different lenses and the camera views and all that sort of stuff. Really do recommend you get extra lenses if you're getting a DSLR, because a kit lens does provide a fairly limited field of view. So I picked up this Canon EFS 55 to 255mm lens. It's a relatively cheap one for lenses, probably only cost me about $400. But yeah, this one suits me fine just for plane spotting and all that sort of stuff, when I really appreciate a much more zoomed in look. This also works a treat when you're doing nature photography. You may be out in a national park or you're on safari like I did when I was in Sri Lanka. This worked really well. Keep in mind, with so much technology out there these days, you're probably already going to be carrying a lot when you're traveling. So having a DSLR camera and possibly even an extra lens is a lot of extra weight and can be quite cumbersome carrying around. So yeah, they are really fun to use, DSLR cameras. They can be a little bit of a burden to carry around, however. So yeah, I really do think strategically about when I will use this camera and when I won't. If I'm going plane spotting, obviously I'm putting it in the car and taking it with me. I'm going on a safari or a national park or somewhere where there's lots of animals and scenery. Once again, yes, I'll be taking it. But yeah, if I'm just exploring around the city of said destination that I'm visiting, it's not necessarily always an essential item to pack. Just use your discretion, because iPhones and other camera phones these days produce pretty good overall photos. And here's my tripod. It's just a cheap Vita $40 tripod. Pick this one up at Officeworks. Yeah, it does a pretty good job overall. Primarily just use this for plane spotting, but yeah, I also do keep it around my home office as well, in case I'm doing any sort of videos where I'm doing face to camera in my own office, like I am today. So overall, a good little tripod. This one, not super sturdy, but yeah, it's usually fine for everyday use. Another honourable mention that you might not exactly have thought about when starting a YouTube channel is a trusty old whiteboard, or indeed a chalkboard, or whatever you may wish to jot your ideas down. This one iPad came up for about $15, and yeah, as you can see on my wall there behind my flight simulator equipment that seems to be gathering dust. These are really just a great idea to jot down ideas. They're great for brainstorming things. They're just great. You get an idea, you jot it down there. Maybe you've got a to-do list, you've got equipment to buy, you've got flights to plan, you've got videos to produce, or you've got ideas on videos to produce. Yeah, just an old-fashioned whiteboard, jot down your ideas, and also get office organisers and that sort of stuff, a little bit more sophisticated. Couldn't recommend these enough, because often you have these great ideas and then life gets in the way, you're so busy, and then you completely forget about them, or they go on the back burner for way too long. Moving next on to what I use to produce my videos with, two main devices really. My iPad Pro 12.9 inch, that's an older model from about 4 years ago now. Also use my MacBook Air M2. Basically, when I first started the channel, I just had the iPad Pro. It worked really fine starting off. Downloaded a program called Aviation. It was only about $40 on the App Store, and you can use it across all iOS devices. That also includes your iPhone. So yeah, really just use that to start off with. We're absolute treat. As you can see here, this is the LumaFusion program here. Got the Apple Pencil. It actually works quite well for navigating the little timeline there with your video. What I did eventually find, however, after a while of using the iPad Pro, was that it became quite tricky getting all my content on and off the iPad Pro. The various hard drives I was using, including my lacy rugged hard drive, seemed to have issues connecting it. Sometimes it would connect, sometimes it wouldn't. And yeah, it was just a really hit and miss experience. So yeah, for these reasons, I always had been a Windows user, but yeah, had longed finally to get into the world of Macintosh computers. So yeah, I took the plunge and got a MacBook Air M2 about a year or so ago now, and can't recommend this laptop enough. Not just for content creation, but yeah, just as a general all-round travel laptop. So yeah, this is my MacBook Air M2. So yeah, just got the baseline M2 MacBook Air about a year or so ago now. Didn't kit it out or anything like that. So just got the baseline model that has 8GB unified memory. Also has I think an 8-core GPU, and I think it also has 256GB solid state hard drive. You can pay a lot more to go, 16 gig or 24 gig. You can go up to 1TB hard drive. But yeah, it does cost a lot more. But yeah, for me, getting the baseline model, it's performed surprisingly well. Yes, your rendering times will be a little bit slower, but for me, for most of my videos, when I produce them, they're not time critical. And most of the time, when I send a video to render and to upload, I usually do it just before I go to bed overnight, or do it before I'm going to work. So yeah, I just render the videos at times when I'm not around needing to use the laptop anyway. But yeah, this is a great laptop, not just for travel content creation. It's also a great laptop for travel in general. It's just so light and portable, very stylish looking as well. Yeah, and it handles everything really well. It's just so portable. It's great for traveling. You don't have the big heavy power brick like you do with most Windows laptops as well. It can be charged with this braided cable here, which conveniently pulls away, which is really cool. And yeah, you can just use I think 30-watt charger as well, USB-C charging. Yeah, I've got a Lenovo Legion gaming laptop, which is probably a lot more powerful in terms of specs, but the way the MacBook Air M2 handles things for such a relatively low spec laptop, it just handles it amazing. It also has no fan in the MacBook Air, so it doesn't mean it's noisy or anything like that. So that's also a real plus when you're doing your voiceovers, because if you're using a Windows-based laptop with a fan, you're going to pick up that noise. So yeah, can't recommend the MacBook Air M2 enough. If you're a really serious creator, you may consider getting, MacBook Pro or something like that. And I think just starting off, the MacBook Air M2 is a great laptop. But you certainly don't need it. You can definitely get started editing videos on your phone or your iPad or a Windows laptop. I haven't really edited videos on Windows before. If you are that sort of person, let me know what programs you use. Next up, we want a microphone. I do use a Rode wireless microphone, generally speaking, while I'm on the go. While I'm doing voiceovers at home for the video, I use this Yeti Blue microphone. Very, very trusty old microphone, this one. It is very heavy, so it's not very portable, not very convenient to travel with. So that's where the Rode wireless mic's good for that. But yeah, at home, having it on your desk, it's a great desktop microphone. Just plugs in with USB cable, so very easy to use, plug and play, very straightforward. In terms of hard drives, I personally like to have a solid state drive with me for when I'm traveling around. I've got this SanDisk Extreme Pro portable hard drive. That's 2 gigs, it's got very high read and write speeds, so that's great when you're backing up all your content night after night. Definitely recommend you do that when you're traveling. Have multiple sources of backups just in case something happens to your original stuff or your stuff gets corrupted or whatever. Good to have it on a hard drive. You can just use regular hard drives as well. I do have a few lying around at home. They're good to kind of do a second backup of your content when you get back home. I've even got a NAS drive, which is kind of like a system of hard drives which connects into your home network. The NAS drive works really well for me. Someone who has literally dozens of terabytes of content, NAS drive is so much better than literally having piles of hard drives. If you are just wanting to use regular hard drives, I have this Lacy rugged, it's a 5 terabyte hard drive. This is kind of like my daily driver. Back up all my trip content onto this one. It's obviously very rugged, so yeah, if you are in extreme conditions, this works well. And yeah, even a cheap little Western Digital sort of hard drive, these only cost about $100. You can't go wrong with one of those as well. One thing I would also recommend, particularly when you're doing your voiceover for your YouTube videos, is a pair of wide monitoring headphones. And it don't have to be expensive, these. I bought a good pair of Audio Technica ones for about $100. They also are Bluetooth headphones as well, but the thing is you want wide headphones to plug into a USB microphone such as the Blue Yeti. But as I'm aware, things like AirPods and that sort of stuff won't be able to be connected to a Blue Yeti microphone. So yeah, you definitely want to be monitoring your audio as you're recording it in real time. The other thing is, when you are doing a review of your final video, what I found when I used AirPods was that Apple products in some ways are actually too good, and sometimes too good is actually a bad thing because it kind of masks out poor audio. So you want a pair of headphones that not only produces good audio but also will point out in case of bad audio or clipping or something like that. So yeah, the wired headphones are a really good idea. Also less latency than using Bluetooth as well, so couldn't recommend them enough. Absolutely worth it for content creation. Going to the Rode wireless microphone system itself, you can't actually see the receiver at the moment because it's hooked up into the cold shoe mount of my Canon DSLR 200D. But yeah, it does have two microphones. This is a more expensive version than the ME version. So you definitely do pay a premium for these, but the benefit of these is that they do internally record the audio to the recording device itself. So if for some reason you do have some sort of failure in the audio going into your camera, hopefully it will still be able to be backed up to the actual recording device itself, which you can pull off the microphone and then sync it back to your footage. So that's really handy to know. You also do get the wind muffs as well, so pop these on if you're filming outdoors or in windy conditions. Definitely recommend. But yeah, overall I got the 2-pack of Rode Wireless Go microphones. It wasn't a cheap investment. It was $369 on special on Amazon. But yeah, couldn't recommend the system enough. It does take a little bit of time to get used to how to properly optimize it, because it doesn't matter how good your audio setup is or your photography setup or whatnot. You can have the most expensive of equipment, but if you don't know how to use and master the settings, it's really not worth having in the first place. Other cool thing with the Rode Wireless Go microphone is you can also plug a lavalier microphone into one of the transmitters as well. So if you do prefer to record audio a little bit more discreetly, maybe you're talking to the camera in a crowded public place or on a plane or a bus or somewhere and you want to maintain a low profile, using the lavalier is a really good way to go. So here's the Rode Lavalier Go microphone here. I won't actually plug it in, but you can just plug it into the transmitter there and that will go into the lavalier mode. Another item you'll probably really want to have when producing video content for a YouTube channel is a pretty trusty old thing known as a power bank. I picked up this Bravo solar power bank about 6 or 7 years ago now on Amazon. I think it was about $70 or $80. It is 20,000 milliamp hour charge rating. So yeah, it has an 18 watt USB-C output, also has 2 USB-A outputs as well. So very handy, this one. In theory does have solar recharging. I've never really had any success with it, but if you are hiking out in the bush, you could probably put it on your backpack and get a minor amount of extra charge from it. Also does have a handy carabiner here if you want to hook it up to things and that sort of stuff. It's even got a flashlight as well, so that's really cool. The little flip that comes over the top and protects the charging ports. Unfortunately, that's come disattached. But never mind, yeah, it's a really sturdy power bank. It's even got a compass there, and it's got wireless charging on the back. So yeah, not necessarily easy to fit this one in your pocket if you're charging your phone, but yeah, if you're just charging it from out of your backpack or something, can't recommend this one enough. Also do have this Apple MagSafe wireless charging brick here that pops on the back of your MagSafe iPhone. Very convenient, this one, because it sticks right on the back of your phone. Doesn't have much charge capacity, however, it does even barely provide more than half an extra charge for my iPhone. There are other competitors who have released similar models which have a lot greater capacity and are a lot cheaper, so they're probably the way to go if I was buying another one again in the future. A few other honourable mentions of things you might need when producing YouTube videos is things such as dongles and adapters. If you are, especially in the Apple ecosystem, The devices are very minimalist these days in terms of extra ports. That's of course unless you've got the Pro lines of MacBooks, which do have extra ports. If you just got the MacBook M2 Air like me, you just got the 2 USB-C charging ports and also that MagSafe charging port as well. Nothing else, no HDMI ports, no USB-A ports, anything like that. So yeah, I've just got this little hyperdrive workstation dongle thingo here. Worked really well. I've always used this with my iPad Pro as well. Basically plugs in as USB-C, and then in return you get an extra USB-A port. You still get a pass-through USB-C port as well. You get an SD card reader as well, which is really good for normal size SD cards. You also get a micro SD card reader as well. Then also on the side there, you've got a HDMI port. So you can use this to hook up your MacBook Air to the single monitor that it will allow. Making a note of that as well, if you do have a MacBook, you can also use the iPad Pro as sort of an extra monitor. It doesn't work as seamlessly as just plugging into a regular monitor, but yeah, you can get that connectivity with it. If you are using the M2 Air, it's just a one monitor you can plug it into. However, other things you may need as well is iPhone adapters, things like camera adapters to plug up microphones and all that sort of stuff as well. You may also need a trusty Lightning or USB-C to headphone jack as well. All these dongles and adapters, they don't usually come cheap if you're buying the original Apple proprietary, so you can probably get cheaper versions on eBay and Amazon. Not saying whether you should or shouldn't, but yeah, just be buyers beware. If you're trying to produce really good content, they may not be as reliable. So there you have it, folks. That's my introduction beginner guide as to what I use for my YouTube channel setup. A lot of this stuff is, as I said before, stuff I already had, so I didn't necessarily go rushing out to buy all this stuff the moment I decided I wanted to build a YouTube channel. So yeah, you can really just start your YouTube channel with your phone camera. That's perfectly fine. If you've got a GoPro or some other action camera as well, that really helps as well. Probably do invest in some sort of microphone setup straight off the bat as well. However, that would be definitely my one recommendation of equipment that you definitely need to buy. Don't have to buy this super expensive Rode microphone system straight off the bat. I just waited until I was making a little bit of money on the channel. But yeah, you can definitely buy cheaper wireless or lavalier microphones on Amazon. Get started with those, that's perfectly fine. And yeah, just get a USB desktop microphone as well for your voiceover. Doesn't have to be a super expensive one. Any one of those is better than audio straight out your camera. Anyway, I think we'll wrap up today's video. Really hope you've enjoyed it and found some useful information about it. There's still other few little things I do use in the day-to-day running off my YouTube channel, but I can't probably talk about everything because I'd be here all day. So yeah, I might put a few affiliate links in the description down below. Absolutely no pressure whatsoever. But yeah, if you do find yourself thinking you might want to buy some of these products and you think they're really right fit for the YouTube channel and the content that you want to produce, do consider using the links down below. If you're going to already shop at Amazon or whatever place you shop and you see a link down below, please do consider using it. We'll get a small commission from that. Really just helps me to produce better and better content for you guys, because anything I earn on this channel, whether it's AdSense revenue or affiliate marketing or whatnot, just goes straight back in the channel. So really appreciate that. No pressure whatsoever, but yeah, just saying to consider, if you are buying these products, do kindly consider using the links down below. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today. Really hope you found this video useful and informative from the perspective of not one of the big huge tech YouTubers out there with millions of subscribers, but yeah, just from someone who has a small grassroots travel and aviation channel. So yeah, hope you've really found it interesting and down to earth. But yeah, in the meantime, you also visit my website aussiejetsetter.com.au, as you can see on my screen there. And of course, don't forget to visit my YouTube channel itself, where you can find all things aviation and travel content, flight reviews, walking tours, train reviews, drives, hikes, whatever it may be. If you just discovered my channel for the first time, be sure to check it out. You may also wish to visit my Instagram and Aussie Jet Setter Shorts channel. I'll put a link in the description down below to those as well. But yeah, from here in my own little makeshift studio in Perth, West Australia, thanks so much for watching today's video. Be sure to stay tuned for the next 2 videos in the series. And yeah, until the next one, safe travels wherever that might take you.